one person who has become not only a national heroine or hero in this country, heroine, I mean, not heroin, and now becoming one of the most influential voices globally is Monica Smith. And I'm glad to call her a friend. I'm glad to call her a colleague. And today I have her and we have Dr. Peter McCulloch. You want to get out there right now, rally people. And ladies and gentlemen from all over the world, Monica Smith. How are you, Monica?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Oh, Monica, we love having you on. You look absolutely amazing. Look at you.
Thanks. Great. Well, yeah, it's been a great event. Thanks for having me. Should I get started?
Absolutely, Monica. The floor's yours.
Great. All right, great. Well, again, I want to say to Pat, this event is really amazing and I feel extremely honoured to be speaking next to you and the whole lineup. I was really shocked to see my face on a poster with these amazing people. So I'm really grateful and blessed for the opportunity. So thank you. Now, I have a few points to make today, of course, and my first one is that there is hope. I'm always talking about hope, but the reason there is because I want to talk about the world coming together. You can see this on this show. Of course, we had Christine Anderson, which I'm so excited about. And of course, just before we had Robert Kennedy Jr. and Peter McCulloch is next. So you can see that the world is coming together. And another way that I'm going to show you that is you may or may not have known that on the 4th of December, I organised, along with the help of my team, an official SOS from Australia. The video was made with the footage from Victorian lockdowns, mostly when the police were really brutal. So this video was very dramatic, but the reason it is to expose the severity of what's going on here on the streets. Of course, people trying to just practice their freedom of speech were basically walking into what I would say about a modern battlefield, or what I could possibly imagine it looks like a battlefield. And look, we've made a video to thank the 20 countries. There were 20 countries that protested on Australia's behalf at their local embassy or consulate. And I know Christine Anderson actually made a video in response to the SOS as well. So it really got recognised. We've made this video. It is still a draft. So when I release the real one, probably next week, it's going to be a little bit different, but the nuts and bolts is there. And I would like to show it to you now to hopefully give you some hope when you see this footage. So if you could play that video now, team, that would be great.
This message goes out to the people in Australia. My name is Christine Anderson. I'm a member of European Parliament, and I'm answering your SOS call.
We have been able to network with the entire world over this event, and we are all working together behind the scenes to bring about worldwide campaigns and initiatives. This is the beginning of the worldwide pushback against the evil agenda. Good always prevails, and the truth always comes out. Every day that you wake up is one day closer to us getting our God-given rights back. It will happen. It's only a matter of time. Until then, stay strong, stay focused, and I will see you in the newly liberated society that we are all building together.
Okay, I still get emotional watching that actually, because just seeing all those countries doing that is amazing. I could go on about it for a while, but I will continue. The reason I'm showing you this is to give you hope, because, you know, the thing that sometimes is difficult for me is the pressure of trying to change everything and make it better. But the thing is our enemies have been planning this for decades. We have only just been fighting back for 2 years in the most part. So, of course, it's going to take a while for us to get organised, but it's happening. It's absolutely happening. And all the horrible things that are happening, there are equal or more amazing things happening. It's just that we don't see them. So maybe we need to look for them a bit more to make ourselves feel a bit better. And, you know, the famous Sodom and Gomorrah story, God said if there was just 10 good people in that city, he would save it. He would not abolish it. And there wasn't. I can guarantee you there are more than 10 good people in this world. There are more than 10 on this event today. So don't worry. I don't think it's the end of times yet. So there is definitely hope. Now, I'm going to move on to another subject, which this really helped me feel less pressure for what was going on. And if that helped me, I'm sure it might help some of you. I watched a Rumble link with Dr. Matthias Desmat, Dr. Robert Malone, and Dr. Peter McCullough, who's coming on next. Maybe he's going to talk about this. So I won't talk about it in too much detail because I'm not the expert. But the idea of mass formation, it's a really interesting thing that I've realized in the last 2 weeks, and it's changed my perspective on everything. And this is the key, right? In that video, they said that over 60% of Americans did not have one meaningful relationship, and over 65% of Americans said that their job was completely meaningless. So you know what the real pandemic is that people have lost their purpose and they've lost their meaning. And humans want to feel connected. We need a community. We need to feel like our life is not just an accident and meaningless. And so what the pandemic has done for these people, and this is a very simple explanation, you should go and check out the video, but it's given them purpose, even though it's superficial. They walk outside and they see everyone wearing masks. They feel like they're a part of a community that is not only wearing masks, but saving lives. And they get these injections, they have no idea what's in them, but they're saving lives and they're a part of something bigger than themselves. It's because they've lost that in their life. And I mean, I'm a believer in God, I'm a Catholic. And for me, I personally think a lot of people have lost some sort of higher being guidance. So they're a lot easier to be manipulated. Whether it's God or a higher being of some sort, I think it's important that humans have some sort of ideology that there is something greater than themselves. And that is what these people have found in the pandemic. So what do we do with that information? Well, these people are going to one day realize that you and I have been fighting for them this entire time, not even for ourselves. Actually, we've been putting ourselves at a lot of risk to fight for them. And when they do realize that, which they will, we are going to want to welcome them into our community, and we are going to want to be a community with them again. So what I'm trying to say is, don't bang your head against the wall, making yourself crazy, trying to convince these people of the truth, because they're actually in a trance. Now, that's my own word. That word was not used in the Rumble video, but they're in a trance, and no matter how much truth you tell them, they can't see it and they don't want to see it. They have to come to that realization on their own. Of course, you should drop some tidbits of information here and there, and hopefully they'll come to the conclusion themselves. But don't waste your emotions on people that are in a trance, and save those emotions for actual strategic pushback. So I would say my last point on that is just that be patient with these people, be empathetic. And when you understand that they're in a trance and that it's actually not necessarily their fault, it may have been at some point a choice that they made, but they're actually just trying to feel included and welcome and have friends. So if you can provide them any sort of community feeling, that's when you might be able to slowly change their mind and make them feel a part of your community instead of the masking community. So that's one thing. So I'm going to touch on my journey just quickly. Before, when I did the Prayer and Pushback event, I had not been to prison. And I really did not think that 2 years ago I would be sitting here talking to you about 22 days in solitary confinement, speaking next to members of parliament and international global scientists and doctors. I could not have imagined that this would be happening. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is that it's really important that me going to prison is actually a sign that if we don't push back against this well enough, prisons will be full of people like me. And I'm not saying that to scare you or be dramatic, but it's just the truth, because the fact that I was in there in the first place is already proof that they are willing to put innocent taxpayers into prison, people who actually contribute to the society. So, of course, some people have, called me a hero or brave, and I can see why they might say that, but I want to give you my perspective on it. I'm neither of those things. The only thing I did is I simply did what God asked me to. It's really that simple. So I've been searching my whole life, well, especially in the last 5 years, for purpose. I've been single most of my life. I was like, where is my purpose in my life? I prayed really hard for it. And they say be careful what you pray for, right? Because I prayed for purpose and God gave it to me. And I felt like going to prison was part of my journey and part of my sacrifice. And to be honest, I was blessed to be given that opportunity because I had the situation to be able to do it. I have no children. I have lots of support. So I could do that. Now, it's important that we all find our own, what we can do, but we shouldn't compare our strength to others because everyone has a different lifestyle. And we also shouldn't compare our suffering to others. So what I suffered, you know, I was able to manage because God gave me the strength. And on top of that, maybe millions of people were praying for me all around the world. So I had that strength, and not everyone can be in that position. And I don't recommend it for other people. So I just want to say, though, that is what I was willing to do. And I don't regret a thing of it. And I want to say as well that in your own lifestyle, you can do things as well that hopefully that don't end you up in prison. But the point I'm trying to make is that even though I was going through some pain in that moment, I was at complete peace because I knew that I was doing the right thing. I knew that I was doing what God asked me to do. So I believe, and this is my opinion, that no amount of pain is worse than the feeling of doing the wrong thing. So the peace that you get when you do the right thing, even if you're in pain, feels incredible. And if you've experienced that in your life, you'll know what I mean, and you might have to experience it again. So the reason I'm telling you this is that maybe my story can give you the strength to do the right thing, no matter how painful the consequences will be. I know families that are living in cars and have never been happier, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I know families that have moved in with each other because they've lost their jobs. They've never been happier. And I'm not saying that's going to be the same for everyone, but I'm just trying to make those points. Now, I made a quote. I came up with a quote in prison, and that is that in times of psychological warfare, collective courage of conviction will be our strongest weapon. So I think collectively, and that brings me to my next point, which is that, and actually Robert Kennedy Jr. did touch on this, talking about, you know, where is your line in the sand? You know, if it's not now, when is it going to be? And what will it take? So I think it's really important that if we want to have collective courage of conviction, it's time that we start figuring out where our line is. Because let's be honest, if you're not willing to take an unimaginable amount of medications that you don't want, eventually you're probably going to say no anyway, and then you're going to lose your job and everything that you've been fighting for anyway. So for some people, they think it's easier to just draw the line now because the line's going to be drawn eventually. And if you keep complying yourself, if you keep complying to keep the things that you're trying to keep, you might wake up one day and become someone that you're not happy to be, someone that you don't respect. And that to me is my worst fear for the community that I've built around me during this time. Let's say everything goes really badly. Let's say we all end up in some sort of mock concentration camp. I'm just saying what if, right? Imagine the feeling of sitting there knowing that you didn't do at least something that you could have done to stop it. That would be, to me, the more torture than being in that facility in itself. So if we're destined for that facility anyway, at least do what you can now so that when you're in there, you know that it's not your fault and that you did everything you could, and you don't have to look into your children's eyes and tell them that you didn't fight hard enough. My heart absolutely bleeds at the concept of people I love feeling that type of regret. So if it's not for the world that you're pushing back, if it's just for your own mental stability, I suggest that you think about right now how you can push back before it's too late, because I just do not want you to regret not trying. Now, this is my last point, so there's about 2 minutes left for the producers. So the big question is there hope, right? I know I've given mixed messages in this talk. You know, there's the hope of the world coming together, and by the way, it really, really is, and we have some really exciting things happening. But also the dramaticness of maybe being in this facility or maybe not winning and things like that. I think we need to look at both avenues, but there is hope. There absolutely is hope. Now, the thing is as well with the hope is we don't really have much choice but to feel hopeful, because if we weren't hopeful, we may as well just not wake up in the morning, and I may as well not be here spending time talking to you on a camera in my office. Why bother if there's no hope? The thing is, we have no choice because we're not willing to live the life that they want us to live anyway. So what choice do we have? Eventually, we're going to have hope and do whatever it takes. So I say, even if you have to trick your mind into it, have hope, because there's no other option, and the other emotions are kind of negative. But in saying that, if you're having a bad day and if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay as well. Have a bad day, eat some chocolate, drink some wine if that's what you do, and just have a break. And then the next day, pick yourself back up and get straight back on the horse, because that is what we need. We cannot lose hope, or else we're pretty much done. So like I said earlier on, our enemies, over the last 2 years, I would say our enemies are kind of laughing at us in some ways. They're watching us running around like headless chickens, trying to put out all these spot fires while they're just pouring petrol on the source of the fire. They want us to tire out. They want us to lose hope, and we can't do that. And so that's why we're going to change our tactic. That's why we're going global. That's why, I made those connections with SOS people. And like I said, there's amazing things happening. We have to start thinking bigger, and we have to start thinking long term and stay focused and be strategic and not tire ourselves out with all the distractions that happen, because that's what I was doing, and I'm sure other people are too. We've got to look at the big picture and stay focused. Now, and also, we don't let the failed attempts bring us down. I know we've been protesting really well, a massive protest, biggest protest in Australian history, and they didn't work. But you can't imagine how bad things would be if we hadn't done those things. So there's no point in regretting the things that perhaps didn't work or seem to not have worked, because we have no idea the effect or the pressure that those have created. And it's like a boiling pot. We're just going to keep going until that pot bursts. And so don't underestimate what you've done in the past. Don't let the past let you down. Now, I'm going to finish now, and it's actually it's funny, I wrote this speech without the video that I just played in mind, but the end of my speech is exactly the same as the video, which is that, so I'm going to say it again, good always prevails, the truth always comes out, and every day that we wake up is one day closer to us getting our God-given rights back, and it will happen. And until then, stay strong, stay focused, and I will see you in the newly liberated society that we're all building together right now. Thank you so much, Pat Mesiti. That is my conclusion.
Monica, you're an inspiration. You're a gift to the country. You brought oxygen to people's soul. The video was so powerful. And what you shared then was just so moving. That gift that God gave you of being incarcerated for that period of time is an inspiration to us all not to give up. And, I want Australia to get behind Monica. Follow her, support her, get behind Reignite Democracy. Monica, my heart, my faith has been stirred. And I love how you're unashamed of your faith. And could you please give my regards to your family out there? I know your family are believers. And I just want to say that, Monica, you've given people a lot of courage today. And your example of resilience, your strength is something that is, you're not out there trying to bloke it out. You're just out there being the strong, godly woman that you are. And on behalf of Australia, I salute you and I thank you. And you'll be in our prayers, and that's not a throwaway line. Monica, thank you. And I want everyone to get behind her. If you could get that video up, I want to slam that everywhere all over the world. And please give my love to the family, Monica, and keep praying for us. I'll be praying for you. God bless you so much, sweetheart.
God bless you too. Thank you.